Hello, friends. Hi, I'm Christopher Arca from the City of God Ministry, and now you're watching our Bible review program. So, before we dive in, don't forget to click on like, do post a comment, and finally subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click that notification bell so that you will be updated real time whenever we put up new videos in the future. And also, if you like what we do here in our channel, please do support the City of God Ministry so we can further our work on evangelization. That way we can still do expository preaching of God's Word to far and wide places. Details on where you could send your support and donations can be found right down at this video, at the description box of this video. Alright, so it's been a long while since I was able to do this review of this King James Version. This King James Version came from the Holman Handcrafted, and I've had it for a while since I got this fresh from the publisher, which was actually already a month ago. I just couldn't get started to do this review because we got a lot on our plate. I mean, preparing for the biblical recollection, sponsorship meetings, and in any case, thanks to our friends from Holman, to our dear friend Mr. John Watts for sending us this review copy of the KJV from the Holman Handcrafted collection. And this is free in exchange for an honest review. And quite frankly, if I could just level with you guys, just for this instance, I am a critical text guy. But I do have a knack for the majority or the majority text or the Byzantine text. The reason I got into requesting this King James from Mr. Watts is I would like to remain open to new things. For me, that is to reorient myself into the Textus Receptus text form. Sorry about that. The King James actually is derived from the TR, which we call the Textus Receptus, while the other modern English translations are based from the critical text. Some of our Christian brothers and sisters in the other parts of the globe know this fact, but unfortunately for some Filipinos here in our country, they are not even familiar that there are different text forms. Why? All they know is the Bible that they have in their hands, and they judge other translations out of ignorance, basically because they don't know that there are even text forms, because there are three, like the critical text, we have the Textus Receptus, and we have the majority text or the Byzantine text. So, for quite a while, we have been opening the eyes of our fellow Filipinos regarding this issue by actually providing a comprehensive Bible reviews, which we always reviews of Bibles that we receive from major publishers like Cambridge and now also with Holman. This way, every Filipino Christians would be able to appreciate every English translations of the Bible and not be discriminatory of one translation from the next. I think you understand what I'm saying, right? We cannot judge any translation out of ignorance, and that includes the King James Version. And what we have here is the King James single column, wide margin edition in black goatskin. And this specific premium Bible came from the Holman Handcrafted collection. This actually is the premium line from Holman Publishers. So let's take a look at the packaging first. Now, unlike other Holman Handcrafted, the box that we have here has a different color scheme. We have the Holman Handcraft. I just don't know what color this is actually. So we have the Holman Handcrafted collection, single column wide margin Bible, black goatskin, and take a look at the side. And here at the back are the features and specs. Now, if you want to read the details here, please feel free to pause this video. After that, we have this ISBN number, and this one retails at $179.99. This is the link where you could purchase this Bible. And this is the King James Version by Holman. Now let's take a look at this Bible. Now this is a pretty thick, a pretty big Bible. Take a look at my hands. Now, but I do love how this Bible goes. This is the grain. It's very grainy, and the goat skin, it feels a little thick, but it is still flexible. Now, as you can see, this is a nicely done perimeter stitching, and we have 3 ribbons in excess of 3 inches, I think. And look at the spine hub. We have the KJV, Holy Bible, King James, and the Holman. And this one is very deep. This will prevent the gold being rubbed off, and we have, instead of the raised spine hubs, we have tooled lines, tooled spine hubs 1, 2, and 3. And as you can see, if we open this Bible, you could definitely see that we have the gold line. And take a look at the back. It says goatskin leather cover. And I'd like to raise an attention here, any concern, because when I open this Bible, there's a manufacturer defect right there with the flap of the leather. See, take a look. Nonetheless, it's just pretty much okay anyways. And so moving on, this is a edge line construction. We have 2 liners. This is actually really glued together to make this Bible block strong. And then we have 1 blank page cardstock. We have the presentation page. Also, we have the title page. And then let's move on to the copyright page, which I would like to show you. So we have 3 binding options here. With me is the black premium goatskin, and this one is printed in Korea. We are in 2024, that means this is the 4th run. Moving along, we have the table of contents, and let's get right into the Bible, the text block itself. Now, like any other Holman Handcrafted, we have red accents for the labels. And let's get right into the layout. This is very clean and crisp. Actually, at first glance, the font size, it's very comfortable to read. The spacing and all. This is in a single column format, verse by verse. All the red accents from the book number, from the book title to the chapter number, verse numbers. And if you flip throughout the pages here, you won't find any, let me show you, any notes at all at the bottom. No footnotes, no translator's notes, no references or anything. All we have are spaces. A ton of spaces to write on. That's why it's called a wide margin. Now, here with the outer margin, we have 1 inch, barely half an inch here at the bottom, and also at the top, and also 1 inch wide here in the inner margin. But I don't know how you would be able to write there. As you can see, page number is at the top middle. Genesis 10:11, I mean that will be the page content, and then we have the page content is aligned with the outer margin, and we have the subtitles with the inner margin. To give you actually the dimension of the text block, I think I forgot to give that. The length is 9 1/4 inches, width 6.5 inches, and the thickness is of actually 1.5 inch. Every book here starts fresh with its own page, but there are no notes, no introduction whatsoever. You'll just see the text of the Bible itself. It allows you to be able to read through with not much of a distraction. It would help you focus more on the text itself. Now, even if you look at, let me show you. Here, we are in the book of Psalms, and it makes no difference whatsoever since this entire Bible is in a single column format and it's in verse by verse. Now, actually, I like the paper that they used here. I'm not sure what's the GSM though, but it is quite thick, minimal ghosting, and the text is perfectly line matched. And now if you take a look here in the New Testament, the words of Christ are in red. The way they did the red, it's very comfortable with the eyes. It's not super light where your eyes will hurt. And we have that pilcrow. Actually, we have that pilcrow. That means the paragraph starts fresh there. There we have a new paragraph, I mean. And the words of Christ are in red, and any references to the Old Testament it's not actually printed separately. I mean, there is no distinction when you read through the Gospels, and if you find any references, you won't even know because it is printed with the flow of the text itself. It's not in all caps or anything. It's not in bold. No, you wouldn't even notice. Now, the words that are in italics here, these are the supplied words, which means it does not belong there. It is an added word. It's not included in the original language. And then right after the Revelation, we have the where to turn pages, and then we have the concordance, and finally we have 8 Holman maps. And as usual, this is printed in cardstock and it is quite detailed. The colors used here, it's not very plain. It's like you're looking at an almanac or something. And it's very engaging to also take a look at the maps here. Well, what we will be doing next is actually make a comparison between this specific edition of the King James with the 1611 that I have, sent to me also by Thomas Nelson anyways. And we will be distinguishing if there are any changes with the words, with the spellings and all. Now we will be taking a look at Deuteronomy 6 verse 3. Now Hear therefore, O Israel, and observe to do it, that it may be well with thee, and that ye may increase mightily, as the Lord God of thy fathers hath promised thee, in the land that floweth with milk and honey. Now we will see how different the text is with the original 1611. Just to let you figure it out, how different is the modern English from the Elizabethan English. Now take a look here. This is the 1611. Hear therefore, O Israel, and observe to do that it may be well with thee, and that ye may increase mightily, as the Lord God of thy fathers hath promised thee, in the land that floweth with milk and honey. Now, here in the modern English, the milk is spelled without an E, but here in the 1611 there's an E. The honey does not have an E, but in the modern English it does have. Now, the word here, this one is spelled with an E. Observe with a U, and well with a single L, which conversely is different from the modern English. Now, there is the difference in spelling. And not only here, actually there are other places that we will be taking a look at as well. Now here we are in Exodus 3 verse 14. And God said unto Moses, I am that I am. And he said, Thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, I am hath sent me unto you. Now let's take a look at the 1611. Now, this is the 1611. Let's read that. And God said unto Moses, I am that I am. And he said, Thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, I am hath sent me unto you. Again, certain changes in the spelling. We have E for the said. It has an E, while in a modern English it does not have. The unto, it was spelled with a U, but here it's with a V. And he said, now, also here. Now you'll find all throughout the Elizabethan English here in the 1611, it's quite different with the modern English that we have in the modern, the modern English, the modern KJV, I mean. So there are, and the thing is here, what I would like to clarify is we just could not spell out if there are any errors when actually there is a difference in the progression of the English language. I mean, language develops over time. It actually evolves. Certain words are not used anymore since the time of Elizabeth and Shakespeare, which is, this Bible is actually used by people from those time. Now, what we have here is the new English, the new KJV, which uses a different English. So we just cannot say that the KJV is in error when actually language change. English change. We don't speak the language of the original 1611. You must understand that point. Now, let us move on. We will be checking out some verses here in the KJV with the Hebrew Tanakh that I have. We will be also choosing random verses. For the first verse, we will be choosing Isaiah 30, verse 27. It says here, Behold, the name of the Lord cometh from far, burning with his anger, and the burden thereof is heavy. His lips are full of indignation, and his tongue as a devouring fire. So let's take a look at the Tanakh. Alright, so here in my Tanakh, we are in Isaiah 30:27. Here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines, and I will be transliterating it to you line by line. Now I'll be rendering it, I mean. Alright, so for the first, Behold, the Lord himself. Second, comes from far. Third, in blazing wrath. The fourth, I think that's, with a heavy burden. His lips full of fury. In the last part, there at the top, his tongue, I think that's his tongue like devouring fire. So by the sounds of it, the King James agrees well with the Hebrew here. Now let's check another verse. Now let's choose Isaiah 42 verse 1, where it says here, Behold my servant, whom I uphold, mine elect, in whom my soul delighteth. I have put my spirit upon him. He shall bring forth judgment to the Gentiles. Alright, so here we are in Isaiah 42 verse 1. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 lines, and let me try to render this for you. Okay, so first, my servant, this is my servant whom I uphold, Second, my my chosen one, in whom I delight, I have put my spirit upon him. Last line, he shall teach the true way to the nation. Now, if we will try to analyze here the first part of verse 1, the King James agrees here with the Tanakh, but the last phrase actually did not. Now, lastly, we are taking a look at Ezekiel 37 verse 1, where it talks about the valley of dried bones. The hand of the Lord was upon me and carried me out in the spirit of the Lord, and set me down in the midst of the valley, which was full of bones. And lastly, here in our Tanakh, we have Ezekiel 37 verse 1, 2, and the last part of the verse is here. Let me render this for you. The hand of the Lord came upon me. He took me out by the Spirit of the Lord and set me down in the valley. It was full of bones. Now, the way I see it, in the King James, verse 1 is one continuous statement, while here in the Tanakh, I just rendered it into sentences, because the way I saw it, the way it could be read, it actually sound fragmented. The last statement, it was full of bones. Alright, so I randomly chose only 3 verses from different parts of the Old Testament and compared the renderings on how I rendered actually from the Hebrew text. Although the way it could be understood pretty much agrees with the Hebrew, there are places though where the grammar actually seems off. The KJV tried to make it simple for the reader. So when I get my hands on a physical copy of the Textus Receptus, we will continue on with our translation review. For now, what can I say? This KJV from the Holman Handcrafted is definitely an enjoyable reading experience. For those who love the King James, this is a definite reader's edition. It's from an Elizabethan point of view. I could recommend this one made by Holman. I have yet to see one from Cambridge, but this edition here, although this is quite hefty, big, I definitely can recommend this. Now, thank you very much for watching. Keep calm, Jesus on. Take care, and God bless.